Hello and welcome to another episode of Couch to Champion. This will be the update for March. So we'll just be talking about what happened during March. Stay tuned for this episode. I do have a very huge announcement, so you don't want to miss out. Man, it's just been a very interesting week. It's been very busy. There's been a lot of things going on, a lot of distractions. Just things getting in the way, and I have dealt with an injury actually this entire month, and I'll talk about that a little bit further along in the video. But man, what a week. So diving right in, I wanted to start out by kind of just talking about procrastination. So procrastination is really just, honestly, procrastination is just our flesh resisting our mind and our will deciding to vote. So I have personally noticed that a lot of the things this month, man, it just got in the way of me going to the gym. Life has just happened. I had some meetings to get to. I had to work late a couple times. Things are just one thing after another. And again, I did hurt myself, and that definitely got in the way. It's just been hard to get into the gym. It's been hard to get motivated to do anything. And already having the mindset of I don't want to and, not feeling like it, that just amplified when things just got in the way, and it's really been difficult to kind of just push myself to do it. And I have gone a couple times this month. If you've been following along on my social media, you've probably noticed I haven't been posting very many workouts. So it's been pretty obvious that I haven't been up there much. But mentally, honestly, I haven't really felt all that bad about skipping. In my mind, I was thinking, I've got time. The race is, it's months away. I'll make it up later. I can catch up on some workouts, and I can catch up on energy with it. And I haven't really pushed I haven't really pushed to make up any of it. I've just procrastinated. I could get out here and I could, do something during the weekend, or I could, spend an extra day during the week that I don't normally go to kind of make up some of the workouts, but I just hadn't felt like it, and I haven't done it at all. And, I've kind of gotten into a demotivated mindset. I've kind of not really felt like it. I've not really felt pushed mentally. I haven't felt pushed physically either to just get in there and get stuff done. And when I was in the gym, honestly, and you can probably tell going back and looking at my workouts, they sucked. I didn't even really work that hard when I did show up. I didn't superset anything. I didn't push as hard as I normally push. I didn't run as hard as I normally push. And I procrastinated, very heavily procrastinated every single day. Should I not? Is it worth it? Is it not worth it? And it just got me thinking about it, and I do believe that it is okay to skip when life gets busy. I mean, life gets in the way. Things happen. Life happens. Sometimes you've just got to get things done, and that's okay. It's okay to do those things and skip. It's okay. But do not use it as an excuse to stay busy and never go back. I can't today, I've got to do this. I can't today, I've got to do that. At a certain point, you're just making excuses. At a certain point, I was just making excuses. Honestly, if I'm being honest with you and myself. And the longer that you're away from it, the harder it is to get back into it. There's a period of time before I really kicked things off and rebirthed the podcast, rebirthed my workouts and getting back into the gym. There was a period of time, I believe from about October to maybe around December, January, that, man, I pretty much quit. I didn't go to the gym. I didn't pay attention to my diet. I didn't eat right. I went from grinding on all six gears, pushing as hard as I can every single day to be the best version of myself, to absolutely slacking every single day, not giving any effort, not doing anything, staying at home, making excuses. And I slacked off hardcore. I gave it nothing. And I'll be honest, I got kind of fat. And even now, I'm still kind of dealing with extra added weight that I didn't have to add on because of the fact that I just slacked. And there's no justifying it. It was just a matter of, one day of leaving led to another day, and it snowballed until eventually I didn't go at all. And let me tell you something right now, getting back into the gym, getting back on track was the most difficult and most challenging thing I've ever had to experience as far as working out goes. It took everything in me to force myself to get back after it. And I regret not giving any effort during that period of time because I could have been so much better off. I wouldn't have had to spend 7 months prepping for a 5K. I probably would have been there already had I not just stayed at it. And, here we are. You can't go back and change it, but you move forward with the experiences that you have in the past that build where you're at now. So, talking a little bit about procrastination specifically, there's 2 books that I would highly recommend you read that are great foundation builders for procrastination as a whole and just habits. The first one being Atomic Habits by James Clear. That is a phenomenal book. He goes in depth about setting small goals and achieving them, and everything that he talks about in that book is just perfect way to put it. And after reading that book, it really gave me a better idea of how to actually get somewhere in life and actually move forward and build a better habit system. And there's plenty of theories and suggestions that he gives in that book. But the only one I'm really going to focus on is creating SMART goals. SMART being specific, so get detailed. Don't just say I want to run. Say I want to run 1 mile. I want to run in a 5K. I want to do this. I want to do that. Get specific. Measurable. Put a number to it. Like I said, I don't want to run. I don't just want to run. I want to run 5 miles. I want to run 1 mile. I want to run X time. I want to run whatever, measure it. Something that you can actually track. A being achievable. Don't shoot for the stars if you can't even go 2 feet. Okay. Make it something that you can actually get to. Push yourself, but also make it something that you can get to. If you are just now getting into running and you say, man, I want to run 15 miles. You may be able to do that eventually, but it's going to take a lot to get there, and you're going to burn out fast. Trust me, I'm telling you from experience. You will burn out fast trying to get to an unachievable goal. And then you're going to quit, and then you're going to get mad at yourself because you quit, and you're going to just never get into it again because you don't want to disappoint yourself anymore. Make it an achievable goal. Every single month, on my social media, I am posting milestones. You can see that I have laid out specific goals that I want to achieve. Every single one of those is inching towards my ultimate goal of hitting maybe, if I'm lucky, my goal of hitting a sub 21 marathon, a sub 21 5K, and dropping my pace down enough to where I can hit that 5K, which I believe is around a 6:10 pace, ultimate, overall average. And notice that I'm not saying I want to hit a sub 21 5K right off the get-go. That is ultimately my goal, yes, but I am laying out sub goals to push me and propel me towards that ultimate goal. The R of SMART goals being relevant. Don't pick a goal that doesn't matter to you, because you're not going to push for it. You're not going to care about it enough. You've got to have passion behind your purpose for doing the goals, because if you do, that is going to fuel you and motivate you to do them. You know, I wouldn't be running a 5K if I didn't enjoy running, honestly. It's relevant to me because running involves discipline, running involves pushing myself, and that is all things that I want to do. It's relevant to me. I am not going to say that I want to go to, for example, I'm not going to say I want to be on Dancing with the Stars. I hate dancing. I really do. Why would I set a goal to dance if I hate dancing? It doesn't matter to me. I'm not passionate about dancing. That matters. Make it relevant. And lastly, the T being time bound. Set a deadline, you know? Going back to the milestones that I've set, those milestones I aim to achieve at the end of each phase, which is every couple months. So 60-day period is when I want to achieve these goals. I'm setting a discipline. I am setting a deadline to push myself and propel myself to reach that goal by that time frame. Again, if it's not something that you can achieve, then you're going to burn out trying to get there, or you're going to hurt yourself trying to get there. So make it something you can achieve, make it specific, make it measurable, make it relevant, and put a time limit on it. Guarantee you do these SMART goals, you're going to make the world of a difference in achieving things and pushing yourself beyond your limits. Procrastination, if you have SMART goals, it's so much easier to overcome that procrastination by knowing that, hey, these are all relevant to where I'm going. You know, another book I'm going to recommend to complement Atomic Habits is called The Power of Discipline. Awesome book. I would highly suggest you read that one as well. It talks a lot about consistency. Consistency is king. Absolutely king. I cannot stress that enough. You need to stay consistent to your goals if you plan on actually achieving your goals. Consistency, it builds habits, and identity tied to those habits will build more consistency. I was not consistent in my goal of achieving what I wanted to achieve in February. So going back then, you know, I skipped that whole week of a workout and I screwed up my goal of hitting a sub 45 5K for February. I hit a 46 5K. I did not stay consistent, and it affected me. It didn't affect me the day of, but it affected me down the road. So you have to stay consistent. Even this podcast, you know, getting on here and every month coming out with an update, even if nobody's watching, the consistency of doing it every single month after month after month after month, and staying on top of it, there's several benefits to that. It builds practice, it builds credibility, it builds content, and overall, it gives me a measurable backdrop to my whole journey reaching this 5K goal. You know, everything that I'm doing is all about that 5K goal, building up to that 5K goal. Consistency is king. You need to stay on it. Even when you don't feel like it, you need to stay on it. And I'm preaching to myself because I've failed tremendously at this myself. It's very evident in this month, and it's very evident in the fact that I am still overweight. Maybe not fat, but I am over the weight that I want to be. I'm not healthy. I don't feel the greatest all the time. And I just don't consistently take care of my body the way that I need to. And it affects everything. Everything. Mental, physical, even spiritual health. It affects everything. So consistency is king. And going back to when I mentioned that identity tied to those habits build more consistency, you gotta ask yourself, You need to ask yourself, who do you want to become? At the very beginning of this journey, I said, I want to be a runner. I don't just want to run, I want to be a runner. I have tied identity to these goals. A runner does not quit when it gets hard. When their legs start hurting, they don't just give up. They push to the finish line. They give it everything that they've got until they make it. That is who I want to become. Disciplined. I want to be disciplined. Tie an identity to the habits that you want to create. And then those habits are going to fuel your will and your strength and your motivation to do those things even when you don't feel like it. Because procrastination, again, all it is your flesh resisting your mind and your will deciding to vote. You need to strengthen your will power to want these more than your flesh wants them. It's got to be in your core. Another thing to think about is your long-term situation. It may not matter now, but it will affect you later. Every action has a good or a bad consequence, depending on what happens. For example, because I spent 2 months not doing anything, I went back into the gym. January, I went back into the gym and I struggled hard. It took everything in me to get back into the grand scheme of things and rebuild everything that I had built before. It tore down. I spent those 2 months tearing down all the hard work that I put up. And now here I am, March, trying to rebuild the pieces. Pick up the pieces and put them back together. And some things may never be repairable again. I may never be able to lift the weight that I was able to lift before. Maybe not for a while. And that's on me. At the time, all I cared about was, slacking off and being lazy and, I don't feel like going, so I'm just not going to go. Life didn't really involve the gym then. And because of that, now I am out of shape. My diet and my gut health is out of balance and out of whack. My mental stability is out of whack. I did some damage. You got to think long term. Again, just like that February workout, I missed that week and it affected my time. It may not be that close. You got to think down the road. You're in this for the long haul. Because nothing that you do today is going to be for tomorrow. Everything that you're doing today is to build a better future for you down the road. Maybe 10 years from now, maybe 5 years from now, maybe 1 year from now. It doesn't matter. But everything that you're doing today is to build a better you for tomorrow. It's to build a better future for you and to build a better future for your family. You've got to think ahead of time. Because the pleasures of today will never benefit you more than the rewards of tomorrow. Think about it. Think about the consequences of today's actions. Think about what it's going to do later. And to lighten things up on the last, point I'm going to make on procrastination, you need to reward your small victories. Just like in Atomic Habits, you need to be proud of yourself even just for showing up, because every small step forward is one step closer towards your goal. Pat yourself on the back, even if all you did was pull into the parking lot of the gym, because you're doing more than you did yesterday. Every single step you take forward is forward. You've got to be proud of yourself for that. You've got to hype yourself up. You got to say, you know what, I did something good today. Because if you don't, you're going to get stuck in a constant state of negativity And you're going to feel like I just have to be perfect all the time. And if I can't accomplish this, if I can't accomplish that, then I'm not going to be successful. And that isn't true. Be proud of yourself for the little things, baby steps. There's nothing wrong with taking baby steps. I am going to have to take baby steps. 7 months is a long time to be training for a 5K. You know how long on average it actually takes to train for a 5K? Maybe 60, maybe 90 days, if that. That's not very long, but I'm building up little by little towards that goal. Every small step is a step forward in the direction of who I want to become later in the future. So reward yourself. And how you do that is up to you. Read that book. It gives great suggestions. It's an awesome, awesome book. Shifting into the talk I mentioned about, my diet's been crap. Bad diet and poor gut health, they matter. What you eat really does affect you. Lately, man, I have just been eating like absolute garbage. I have been, eating lots of junk food, lots of sweets, just crap. I haven't really looked at any labels. I haven't really looked at how much, sugar's in something. I just haven't cared. Food, let's eat. It didn't matter. And I will say that it's an unwise decision. Diet is half the battle when it comes to losing weight and when it comes to getting healthy. What you eat matters. It really genuinely matters. And lately, I've really just felt, like I mentioned earlier, I've really felt demotivated. I've really felt tired. And honestly, I felt like anything I put down the tube just wasn't processing well. It just didn't feel right. And that's been unhealthy stuff. That's been healthy stuff. That's been everything in between. Just everything. And I will interject and say that I did have a bug that was going around. And I do think that it contributed to a lot of the bad gut feelings that I was having. But honestly, the junk food did not help at all in benefiting me. So your gut and your brain, they talk to each other. There is this thing called the gut-brain axis, which is a bidirectional communication system between the gastrointestinal tract and the brain. And basically what that means is that your gut and gut disruption can affect your mood, it can affect your cognition, and it can most certainly affect your motivation. The gut and the brain talk to each other. They feed off each other. It matters what you eat. I would highly suggest that you check out Dr. Caroline Leaf's work. She's a phenomenal artist. I guess in a way she is an artist with words. She's a phenomenal neuroscientist that talks a lot about the brain and the gut and things like that. But specifically, there's a book by Michael Gershon, I believe, or Gershon, I'm not quite sure how to pronounce it, called The Second Brain. And it dives into the gut-brain axis, and it explains, why you get butterflies and how gut health actually mentally affects you. And the bottom line and the basic gist is your food is fuel. Your brain runs on glucose, which is sugar. It runs on amino acids, and it runs on fatty acids, which are all absorbed right in the gut. Junk food and highly processed food, man, it lacks the proper nutrients you need to fuel your brain or your body. Your body needs the right nutrients to be healthy. Your brain needs the right nutrients to be healthy. Your body needs your gut to be healthy. What happens in the gut affects everything. Mentally, physically, emotionally, it all matters. And a healthy gut microbiome, get this, so enterochromaffin cells, which is a neurotransmitter cell, which is a neurotransmitter crucial for mood regulation and motivation, actually produces about 90% of the body's serotonin. And serotonin is simply just a chemical in your brain and your body that helps regulate your mood, your sleep, your digestion, and things like that. It's basically a feel-good messenger. A healthy gut microbiome equals out to optimal neurotransmitter levels. And with healthy optimal neurotransmitter levels, it actually will equal out to an increase in drive and mental endurance. So when you feel good, you lift better, you run better, you think better, you perform better, and the better you are ultimately. So you need to pay attention to what you eat. You need to consider the ramifications and what nutrients are you getting in your body. What are you fueling your body with? Junk isn't going to do anything good for you. It doesn't have the nutrients. So think about it. Think about it when you eat something. Think about it when you buy things to eat. Pay attention to the labels. See what's in it. It's okay to read. I suggest it. And there was a point in time when I was doing that religiously, and I failed tremendously lately on that. And I haven't felt great at all. And it's affected everything. It's affected my motivation. It's affected a lot. So, again, highly suggest that you consider, what are you eating? Now, there are a few things that I actually personally do that I've been doing for a while to help my gut health. And one of those is that I take this probiotic called Align. And basically what a probiotic does is it reintroduces good bacteria back into my gut, and it helps boost digestion and kind of just levels everything out. So, taking a probiotic every single day, it's just good for you. It's just good for you. It helps everything in the gut do what it's supposed to do, and it boosts everything. It's just great to do. But I am not a doctor, so please talk to your doctor about it. Consider what's in it. If you're allergic to something, don't listen to me. Talk to your doctor, read the labels, do what's best for you. These are all just opinions. These are all just my thoughts and what I do for me personally, but everybody is different. And so not everybody responds the same to everything that I'm doing, so make your own experiments, do your own experiments, see what you think. I also take a omega-3 fatty acid pill, supplement rather, which is fish oil, which is great it reduces inflammation. Actually boosts your cardiovascular health, and it enhances your brain function and efficiency. So like I mentioned earlier in the episode, your brain one of the things that fuel your brain is fatty acids. And so I'm basically reintroducing and adding fatty acids into my diet, enhancing what goes on up here, and I have noticed a very beneficial difference in how well I think, how well I focus, how well I perform. It's just an absolute game changer. And I take these every single day. And it's just a supplement. It's a supplement routine that I have kind of developed over the course of experimenting. I've added, some vitamin C's, and I've done a multivitamin and things like that. But ultimately, I've settled on these two specific things every single day. These two have been my power couple, so to speak, to help keep my gut healthy and help just everything do what it's supposed to do. And another key factor is try and eat clean, healthy, balanced macros. Make sure you're getting enough of the right nutrients. Like I mentioned earlier, cut back on junk, cut back on sugar, and I will say this, don't overdo it. Don't kill yourself if you mess up. It's okay to live a little, just be aware of what you're eating. Pay attention to your diet. Practice portion control. That is one of the main things that has really helped me. Eat until you're full and then stop eating. There's no reason for you to continue eating if you're full. You don't have to clean your plate every single time. Another book I'd recommend, which is a great book on the subject of diet, is The Noom Mindset. Highly recommend it. It's a great book. It talks about the psychology of food, and it's just awesome. If you're interested in that, definitely get into it and read it, and it'll go into more depth about everything that I'm talking about here today. Now, the last thing that's really going to help you, honestly, is just to stay hydrated. You need water in your body. It's vital to our health. You need to drink water, and real water, not just, oh, I drink Dr. Peppers 3 times a week, so I get, some water out of that. No, you don't. Drink water. Get your electrolytes back into your body. Stay hydrated. Don't obsess, but just do what you're able to do, throughout a day. It will all help. If you do this, I promise you that it's going to help you feel better, and by feeling better, you're going to perform better. So just keep into consideration everything that you put into your body, because what comes in, you control how you feel by what you input. It all matters. Everything matters. Pay attention. Moving on to, earlier I mentioned that I had an injury. And let's dig into that, because that affected my whole month. So every single run that I've done up to this point, I have noticed that I am heavy on the right side. And because of that, I'm putting too much impact on my right knee, and my right knee has really started to just have problems. And that's just a form problem. What that's done is, so Monday, I think the 3rd week in March on Monday, I did a HIIT exercise, a high intensity interval training exercise. So I did 30 seconds of a sprint as fast as I could, so about zone 3 or 4. After the 30-second sprint, I did a 2-minute walk at about a zone 2, and then I did that 4 times in a row, and then I took about a 3-minute break, and then I did another 4 sets, and then I took a 3-minute, and then I did another 4 sets, and so on and so forth. And I limped out of the gym that day. My knee was busted up. I hurt my knee bad. I actually had to, that night, put ice on it, and even today, I am still having issues with that knee. Every time I run on it or walk on it or, go up and down the stairs or things like that, it hurts. And that's on me. I overdid it way too much that day, and I hurt myself. And that is why I preach injury so much, is because it's so easy to hurt yourself if you just don't pay attention. And I wasn't, and I didn't, and I hurt myself. And I've spent the whole month of March recovering from that injury. I haven't really been able to run because it's affected my injury. I haven't been able to lift much because it's affected my injury. So I've basically kind of decided to take March and just recover and just really focus on healing up this knee. And lately I have, it's been beneficial. I've been taking care of it a lot more, and I think now, going into April, I think I can get back in the gym and get back on track for things, and I think it's finally, ready to start working again. But, that day I actually was wearing knee braces. So I actually have copper fit knee braces that I got from Costco, and apparently they are infused with copper, and I'll be honest, I'm not even sure if that does anything. If you think it does or you know anything about that, let me know, because I'm very interested. Just shoot me a comment or something that, hey, this is what it's for, because to me, honestly, it doesn't feel like it does squat. So, those braces did actually help. Don't be afraid to wear braces. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. If it makes you feel old, get over it. I'm sorry. But, just, you got to do what's best for you, because braces can provide support and stability. It matters. You got to take care of your body. And, if you're not looking for remedies and you're not looking for situations where you can control that, then you're not taking care of your body. And even at work, there's been a couple days I've actually had to wear a brace throughout the day just to work, because my knee needed to stay in place and it needed to just heal that day. And, it's okay. And I've noticed a huge difference. I think that has helped recover faster. Another key important factor is proper footwear. So, like I mentioned in previous episodes, I am wearing my Hoka Clifton 9s for the bulk of my training, and those things are great. They do everything that I need them to do. They're wonderful. There is only one downside to these shoes, is that they are actually slightly too heavy for me, which means that when I do speed work, they kind of lag, I would say, is the best term for that, and they kind of add extra weight that I don't need. They're not lightweight enough. So I actually wear On Cloud Monsters for my speed training days. Now, that day I was not, but from here on out I definitely 100% will be, because I know that those are actually better for my speed running. They're lighter, and the foam is actually is stiffer and provides a little bit more support for speed work. Now, they are not ideal for my long distance runs or my training or my general training, because they actually are just slightly too roomy in the toe box, and I kind of feel my foot just kind of moving around a little bit, and I don't like that for, longer distance runs and things like that. I prefer my Hokas for that because they are more stable and I can deal with the extra weight. I'm actually looking into considering changing my shoe choice overall. I'm looking for a kind of an overall best for everything kind of shoe, and I'm leaning a little bit more on the Saucony's Ride 18. I've been looking into those. I've been doing some research, and I think that those are really good shoes for just everything that I'm doing all around, for my foot type, my flat feet, my foot size, my narrow feet, things like that. There's just a lot of factors that I'm considering. When I change my shoes, though, I am going to do it probably about 6 months before, maybe 5 months before my race day, because of whatever shoe I end up going for is what I'm going to stick with. So that means that I will be racing in this chosen shoe. So I want it to be something that's going to be race ready, but also be good for daily training, and it's got to provide the right stability. I have lower back issues, I have knee issues, obviously, and, I need to get something that's going to provide the right support, the right stability, but still work for everything. And like I'd mentioned, the Saucony Ride 18s are kind of what I'm looking at. Now, if you're gonna change your shoes before a race, never do it the day before. Never wear new shoes during a race. You're gonna absolutely hurt yourself. You need time to break those in. They have to form to your foot. You have to break them in, because if you don't, it's just not good. So if I switch, it's going to be before the race. So, just keeping that in mind. And, on that note, I am actually using my Adidas Ultra Boost for my strength training. Not even for running, they're for my strength training, because they're flat and they're stable enough to wear, and lightweight enough to where I can get in there and I can have my foot can stay planted when I do, squats or deadlifts or anything like that. So they're great for that, but they suck for everything else, in my opinion. And another thing that would really help you prevent your injury, which I didn't do, is gradual training progression. Get used to added force first and then move on. For example, don't jump too high too fast. Slowly build up. Work with what you can control and maintain good form. For example, if I know that right now I can lift 225 pounds on a deadlift. That's it. When I lift that for 12 reps, I feel like it is the perfect weight for what I can control and maintain good form. Any more than that, and I would start getting imbalanced and out of control. And that is a literal key for injury. That's going to happen. So I'm not progressing my 225 until I feel like I can take on more weight. You have to go based on what you feel like you can do. That Monday run that I did, I way overdid it, and I knew I did. and guess what? I hurt myself. Ego lifting only leads to injury. Nobody's watching you. Nobody cares that you can lift way more than you look like you can lift. Don't hurt yourself. It's not cool. Just work on gradual progression. Increase by 10% every week or every month, whatever you can handle. Gradually get more and more and more towards your goal. Now, also, more specifically for running, in my situation goes, I'm actually strengthening the areas that I'm going to be utilizing for balance and stability for my running. For example, when I do my strength training days, I am actually training legs and, compound exercises, which those are basically exercises that work multiple areas, multiple muscle groups at the same time. So deadlifts, squats, things like that. I'm doing those to help build up the stability muscles that I use when I run. I use my legs when I run, so I want strong legs. Core. I'm building my core because if I build my core, it translates to better stability on my runs. I'm working on plyometrics, which is basically explosive type exercises to help my explosiveness when I jump off or push off the track and things like that. Everything that I do in my strength training is geared towards building a better form for running. Form is key to having a solid foundation for your runs. So pay attention to your form, do what you can do, and don't overdo it. So, all right, well, if you stuck around this long or you skipped ahead to the end, which I would have done too, it's okay. Here is my big announcement. I'm so excited to finally be sharing this. I feel like it's just kind of been hinted at all this time, and then now it's finally here. So I have officially signed up for my 5K. It's now in place. I have registered for the United Supermarkets Lubbock Marathon 5K race. This is going to be in October, so it's actually going to be 1 month after the previous race that I had my eyes set on, which means, hey, I get an extra month of training, right? So I'm super excited about this. This is going to be awesome. It's finally set in stone. I've paid for it. I've registered. I'm in it. I'm locked in now. So there is no turning back. I can't quit. I'm already in it. I've paid for it. It's officially set. So love it if you guys would either, would join me, either follow along on my training journey or, head over there if you're in the area and stand on the sidelines and cheer me on, or, whatever you want to, or be involved, get involved, participate with me, get into the race. I think it's going to be an awesome race. I'm really excited about it. I hope that I win this thing, but we'll see. So I think that's going to wrap up everything that I have for today's update. Next month, April, I'm going to get back in there and we're going to try and slowly build up back to a more optimal level, really focusing on form. And April actually kicks off phase 2 of my training, which is going to be less about building the foundation like phase 1 was and more about dialing in on actual endurance training. So I am going to be trying to cut my weight down a little bit so that I'm a little lighter. I'm going to be focusing on plyometrics, like I mentioned. I'm going to be focusing on, form. Everything that I'm going to be doing in April and May is going to be all dialed on building the runner. So stay in tune for that if you're interested. And, hey, never stop chasing greatness. Always push for your goals. Stay motivated, stay encouraged, and chase every mile.
Thanks for listening. Remember, in the pursuit of your dreams, hesitation is the enemy. Slam your foot on the gas and go full speed towards your vision. Until next time, keep dreaming, keep striving, stay inspired and motivated, and never stop chasing greatness.